In this video, we're going to talk about enhanced for loops in Java. Now, enhanced for loops give up control of the indexer, but they're a lot faster when we simply need to make a single pass going through every element of an array, a list, or some other data structure. So they're very useful in certain circumstances despite their limitations. They're also known as what's called syntactic sugar. It's an easier way to make a basic loop that we're going to use a lot, but there are some indications of when we can't use it, and we'll take a look at those in this video. Okay, for our second look at looping or iteration, we're going to talk about the syntactic sugar version of an enhanced for loop, also known as a for each loop. When we do these loops, we are giving up control of the indexer and saying, we're just going to make a pass through whatever the collection or object or list or array is, and we're going to touch each one of them one time. We're not doing any off access looking, retrieving, changing, or anything like that of other variables. We just want to go element by element by element and either extract the value, use the value, change the value, delete the value, whatever it is we're allowed to do in that particular data type. So here we go. I've got a main, and we're going to do an integer array again. I've got a shorter one for this one. And the first thing I'm going to do is show you a basic enhanced for loop. A lot of people call these for each loops. In Java, it doesn't say for each, so you just have to understand the syntax, which is starts like a for loop. But we're going to basically give the data type of what it is that is going to be the automatic indexer, if you will. So we're going to say int, and I almost always use the word element. Okay, and then the colon means in. Okay, and then I'm going to give it the variable myArray. Okay, and we're going to give it a block. So what I'm saying is, for each integer that I'm going to call element in myArray, do the following. All right, let me say that again. For each integer type element, so for each element that is of type integer in this structure, go do something. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to print out the element across the line. So I'm going to put in here system out print element plus a tab. Okay, and again at the end I'm going to do a system out print. Okay, so all I'm doing is accessing each element of this array when I do it. So let's run that. And I have some sort of an error. Oh, print line. I don't know why I didn't like that. Okay, there we go. There we go. 3, 4, 6, 9, 12, 33. Okay? All I did was print everything out. And that's really all there are to enhance for loops. Okay? But they're really useful. Okay? So to kind of showcase this, and let me put some comments in here, we will learn more about generic types and interfaces in a while. But for now, we will use these to showcase the enhanced for loop. Okay, or the for each loop, whichever you want to refer to it. Okay, so we're going to make a list, which is an interface, and we're going to make it of type integer. Integer, not integer. Okay, and we're going to call it myList, and it's going to be a new array list of type integer. And we're going to see all kinds of complaining here from the compiler. Oh, no, we're not. It automatically added my imports. Or I already had them in there because I was thinking ahead. But if I don't, let's just show this. If I just start typing something that isn't there, okay? Because when you get into some of these data structures, you actually have to import them. I've kind of given that away. But if I hover over this and it says list, cannot be resolved to a type. Import list Java util. Yes, I want to do that. Okay, array list. Import array list Java util. There we go. All right, and it will import them for me. And now all it does is warn me that it hasn't been used yet. All right. So when I have an array list, okay, I can put things into my array list. So I'm going to say my list dot add, and you can see it's right here. And let's put in 4. Okay, put the value 4 in. Let's do about 4 of these, and let's not make these all the value 4, because that's not real fun to look at. Let's put in 12. I don't know, 50, 55 sounds good, and then maybe, let's use a big one, 976. Okay, so we've added these values to the array list. Okay, and I'm not going to go into a lot of different uses for array lists. We'll talk about that in a later video. All right, but we've got an array list called myList, and it's got 4 elements in it. Now we're going to make an array list of strings, okay? So it's a list, but in this case it's string. And we're going to call this names equals new array list of strings. And we're calling the constructor because it's a class, so we need to make it an object. That's why we're calling new. And then we're going to add, let's say names dot add. Got to put strings in here. Say we're adding Amy. Names dot add Amelia. And names dot add Rose. And names dot add, put a dude in there, Fred. Okay, there we go. So we've got some name. So we've created a couple array lists that we can now use. So traversing and array list. 4. Now in this case, we're going to go across names. So it's string element in names. And let's just print it out. So we'll say, steal this. Print. And I can just put element. Okay. And when I run that, I should see the names popping out. Let's bring this up a little bit. There we go. Amy, Amelia, Rose, and Fred. So I've traversed that array list in a very tight piece of code. Okay. Now, let's do a little bit more of a complicated one with the integer list. Let's say 4 int element in. And you know what? Here's a point I want to make. This could be ham sandwich. Okay? In my list. Now we'll see if I can screw up my code by changing the name of my iterator. So I have an integer variable
named ham sandwich, okay? So I'm going to say system out print line original value plus ham sandwich slash t new value. Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this print. Okay, and then I'm going to say ham sandwich times equals 2. So I'm going to double the value, and then I'm going to system out print line which will print ham sandwich and give me the carriage return. Okay, so let's see what that does. Look at that. Original value is 4, new value is 8, 12 to 24, 55, 110, 976, and 1952. Okay, so I can still manipulate the values. Okay, but I cannot. I can't do anything off axis. Now, what I'm going to do here, just to make one more final point that I just thought of, is I'm just going to print the values of each of them after I run that. Okay, because I want to show you something. Notice the values did not change in the array list, because what I did here was I took the element value and multiplied it by 2, but I never said that it was to change it in the memory location. Okay, so if I say if I do this in an enhanced for loop and I'm accessing element, all right, element is just that temporary value of the variable as I go through. Okay, it didn't put this doubling back into the array. Okay, it just can't. Okay, so an enhanced for loop, I'm just taking that value and doubling it here in how I'm using it, but I'm not affecting the underlying array. Okay, so again, enhanced for loops are a quick way to pass through the array, accessing the values and doing something with them.
So hopefully now you've seen the difference between enhanced for loops or for each loops and the basic for loops in Java. In the next video, we're going to look at the do while loops. Once again, this is going to look very similar to what you've seen in the language C.